Hi everyone, this is Glass Arrow, and today I'm going to bring you the review comparison between Play As Kai Iron Man, the authentic version, and the bootleg version. Shown here are the two boxes of this one is an authentic and this one is a bootleg. So when comparing side by side, you can see that there's a lot of difference between the art box between the two. The authentic one is more crisp and more vibrant and bright in color, whereas the bootleg one is a little bit in darker tone. It may be a little bit difficult, such as if you have only the bootleg version alone to see. It may be very hard to tell whether this is the real one or not. The bootleg company do a very great job to make us confused whether this is the real one or the bootleg version. Another good thing that has come out is that later Play As Kai bootlegs you have no logo over here. So this one I've got this one for quite some time, like a couple of years ago when they start doing bootleg Play As Kai, they still got this logo. But as of right now, the Play As Kai box of the bootleg doesn't have this logo at all. So if there are no logos, that's definitely a bootleg. But if there is logo, better check first, because the older version Play As Kai bootleg got this triangle logo too. And you can check my other video too, basic comparison between the two. Okay, and in the back it's exactly the same artwork and design, the authentic and the bootleg. So now let's take a look inside of the both version. Okay, here are them now side by side. Can you guess which one is the real one and which one is the bootleg one? Okay, I'll tell the answer for you right now. So this one is the authentic or real one, and this one is the bootleg one. From the first glance, you can see that they are very quite similar as of like other Play As Kai bootleg with no actual human face. They were done. I have to give them a pretty good job of creating the mold and the sculpt that are almost identical to the real version. Along the way, you can see that all the design and everything are all exactly the same, also in the color and all the color palette and the tone. But if you look closely, you can see that there are some minor difference in the shading and the color, such as starting from the Iron Man helmet. You can see that on the authentic version they have a very bright gold, like a chromatic version, whereas this one is almost like a yellow gold. And around the eyes there are a little bit of orange shading around the white eyes, whereas the bootleg version there is no orange shading at all. So that is a key difference between the two, that you can tell whether the Iron Man you have or you are buying is the real one or not, the shading around the eyes. Other than that, you can see that on the torso and overall the color is almost exactly the same, but bootleg version the color red tends to be a little bit more paler. The one with the authentic usually is more identified with the red overall the black. You can see that the red marking is more intense than the bootleg version, and also that applies to the black part as well. The bootleg version of Iron Man of the armor, the black part is a little bit on the side of a lighter version, but this is like a more intense black. And when at the heart of his armor, the power source in his chest, the both of them are like a piece of looking through glass, but the bootleg will tend to have like color of the yellow and old dust acquired on it, but on the version is more clearer. Okay, and this also applies to the leg and everything, and the gold that happened on the face in between the arms and the legs, this is more like a chromatic gold, whereas the bootleg is more like a yellow gold with no shading and other stuff like that. Alright, and for in the back, okay, in the back is almost the same, the sculpting is all the same, and the color is also exactly the same. So I think that the most prominent difference between the two, if you can look quite easily, is at the helmet, at the shading around the white eyes. Okay, I'll move in closer. so everybody can see. Okay, so around here there is a shading around the eyes. But whereas in the bootleg version, there are no shading around the white eyes. Okay, now I'm going to show you some accessories to distinguish between the authentic and bootleg one. Same as before, this one is the real one and this one is from the bootleg version. The scope is also the same in every aspect, but the color is slightly different, such as in the smoke over here. You can see that the shading black in the smoke of the missile is a little bit darker than the bootleg one. So a little bit difficult to differentiate, so just like a minor difference all in all, right? Okay, and another part here is the repulsor hand when shooting the fire booster. This one is the real one. Also apply the same coloring from the bootleg and the authentic of the main armor. The black of the real one is more intense, darker, and the bootleg one is more lighter, both on the black and the red version. And for the effect or the fire effect from the hand, a little bit minor detail can be differentiated between the bootleg and the real one, but I think it's a little bit quite difficult to tell if you don't have them compared side by side. As always, the color on the authentic version have more wirings in shading and everything on the fire. Okay, now I'm going to show you the articulation difference on how the authentic compared to the bootleg. This one is the authentic, just like other real version of Play As Kai. The joints, usually if you got it first hand, it's usually a little bit stiff all around and you will hear a lot of clicking sound. And in the shoulder joint of this Iron Man, you can pull out to do different poses and it will not fall easily and you can put it back quite nicely. Okay, a lot of good clicking. So as the joint is a little bit stiff, you can pose it and it can stand up very nicely, because when comparing to the bootleg version, as you can see here. Okay, so this one is the bootleg. The joint is a little bit loose all around. It depends on the quality issue you got, because they don't have like a good quality control as the main product of Square Enix. Just like here, if you just look at this arm, the joint may be like perfect, just like almost like the authentic version, but if you look at this arm, you can see that it fall off very easily. It's a little bit loose inside and there is close to non-clicking sound when moving this shoulder. Alright, and on the hip joint, it is very loose comparing to the authentic version. So it is a little bit harder to pose and depend on how lucky or unlucky you get with the bootleg. Sometimes the joint can come in broken pieces and they already glue it back. So beware, if you're buying a bootleg, beware that you may get a malfunction one. Okay. So in summary, which one should you get? It depends. I will not judge you if you are collecting the bootlegs, always collecting bootlegs, or prefer the authentic version. This video is like a mini guide for you to tell the difference between the authentic and bootleg version. So as you can see that the scope is almost the same, but there are some minor disappointment with the bootleg, as always, just at the joints and the bad paint job comparing to the overall better version of the authentic version. So it depends on you. Just make sure that you got them on the right price. There are a lot of sellers out there that's selling the bootleg version of Play As Kai on a very high price, or sometimes as the price of the real version, and sell them as real ones. So be careful out there. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this, please give it a like, and if you want more, subscribe to my channel. It will help me out a lot, and I will continue to bring you Play As Kai reviews and also the differentiation between the bootleg and authentic version of the Play As card in the future. Thank you very much. Arrrow out.